Thank you, everyone, for your attendance at this extraordinary meeting of Dubbo Regional Council. Up first, we have prayer and acknowledgement of country. Councillor Parker.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. O God, grant that by knowledge of thy will, all we may resolve shall work together for good. We pray through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Acknowledgement of country. I would like to acknowledge the Wiradjuri people who are the traditional custodians of the land. I would also like to pay respect to the elders, both past and present, of the Wiradjuri nation, and extend that respect to other Aboriginal peoples from other nations who are present. Thank you.
Okay, councillors, please note that representatives of the media are present and have been approved to use a recording device to record this meeting for their records if they wish. I also advise that Council is now web streaming its standing committees and Council meetings live to the internet, and as such, all those present should refrain from making any defamatory statements. As the signs indicate upon entry to the Council chamber, your attendance at this meeting in the chamber is your acceptance of the condition that your image may be recorded and streamed to the internet, as well as being retained in the archives of the recorded Council meetings and standing committee meetings. So up first, councillors, we have confirmation of minutes. Can I have a mover of that, please? Moved Councillor Jones, seconded Councillor Gumley. Any discussion or debate on that matter? No? I put that. All those in favour? Carried. Now we have leave of absence, and we have one leave of absence requested in the name of Councillor Ryan. Can I have a mover of that one, please? Moved Councillor Gumley, seconded Councillor Etheridge. Any discussion or debate in that matter? No? I put that. All those in favour? I know. Carried. Now we have public forum. We have one registered speaker tonight, Mrs Rhonda Picton, regarding pollution at Purvis Lane. Mrs Picton, would you like to address the council? General rules are it's 5 minutes allocated, and away you go.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. It is very short notice that I come before you this evening, and I represent not just myself and my husband Gary, who own a property down in the North Dubbo area, a floodplain under environmental management, but also a couple of stakeholders sitting behind me here as well, the Morris girls who represent their mother in this matter. This is an ongoing matter that we've had before council for many years now. And at the weekend we were lucky enough to receive some rain down in that area, and that has highlighted some of the significant problems that we've been trying to ask council to address in the past. The one that really comes before us at this very moment is the pollution that came down Purvis Lane and has since moved its way through the culverts at along the railway line and into Mrs Morris's property, flooding her property, and then moving further on towards tailor-made homes, and consequently under more culverts and across into our property. That pollution is evident. I've brought some photographs with me, and I'd like to pass them around to councillors now, if I may, for you to just have a look at while I'm speaking. But the pollution...
Can't actually do that, but if you want to leave it with us, I'll make sure the councillors
get to see it. So yep. Where should I put that to leave it? Beautiful. Thank you very much. But there's some photographs there that indicate there's a significant amount of diesel came down Purvis Lane on Sunday evening, and the smell was horrific. Now, Mrs Morris lives with that smell day to day. It has since soaked into the soil, and we are concerned about the contamination to the soil, to our properties in that area. This has been highlighted to council before. We have had the EPA involved in this matter before. We have had meetings with council and some council staff, various council staff at different times over the last probably 5 years. And at various times we've been told that there will be a concept plan for the stormwater release or catchment in that area that will not impact us. When it continues to impact us, it appears that there is a concept up to the point where water would move under the railway line and through to our properties. It has been considered. There's been no plan for the water movement once it comes under that railway line, and that's happened with just 80 points of rain that we had on Sunday. Now that 80 points of rain has now soaked in, so all the contaminants that came down Purvis Lane have now soaked into our properties. I am aware of a similar situation that we have out on the Dunedoo Highway, I believe it is, at Elong, where there was a tanker of diesel has been spilled. And to clean that mess, they've had to dig down 3 metres, is my understanding. I can't quote any facts or figures on that, other than I understand it's about 3 metres, the depth to which that diesel has soaked in. If you soak in diesel 3 metres on our properties, you will hit the water table. That water table is what some residents drink, it's what our animals drink, and they will be eating the feed that hopefully grows. Whilst I'm very appreciative of the rain, I think it's wonderful that we've got the rain, but I really would like council and councillors to please take note of what it is that you're doing. Purvis Lane looks tremendous, looks fantastic, and I applaud you for the work that's been done at Purvis Lane, but certainly there has been a lack of consideration of stakeholders in this particular area. And we're here tonight because I thought it was an opportunity, when it's so close on that rain, for everybody to understand what you're subjecting us and or myself and other stakeholders in the area to. This is also linked with the broader problem of stormwater catchment in the area, and we've been speaking with council over this on this for a number of years now as well. We've had a system whereby, in years gone by, it is a floodplain, and we love it being a floodplain. We live in a council zoning of environmental management, and that's what we all tried to do down in that area. And I speak only for myself and the Morrises in that regard, because we have several neighbours that do not do the right thing in terms of environmental management. So we do have earthworks that have been done down there and not approved, and it's taken me a progressive course of action over the past 3 years to probably have that recognised, that these earthworks are in fact changing water courses down there. My understanding is, I've grown up living with the fact that we look after our waterways, we don't change waterways, we don't interfere with them, and we certainly shouldn't be polluting them. And I'm sorry to say that's exactly what's happening down in this area. Any one of you councillors, anyone present here today is more than welcome to come and have a look at our place and have a look at the lay of the land and see what has actually happened. We've got a huge catchment area down there, and that catchment has always found its way to the river. True. Fantastic. That's a good signal. I like it. But it has found its way to the river through 3 or 4 different outlets, which have now progressively been closed off, and we're the last remaining outlet. So all the pollution that is coming down Purvis Lane, all the catchment from the Troy Gully, all the catchment from Fletcher's new development is now coming through our place, and that's not acceptable. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mrs Picton. Okay, we now move on, councillors, to Merrill Minutes. The first Merrill Minute on the agenda is the expansion of Neighbourhood Shopping Precinct CCTV Financial Assistance Program. Councillors, it is a Merrill Minute, so I'll formally move that. Councillors, we have a real opportunity here in our region to expand an already successful program. This council had an initiative since the last council election, which I'm quite proud of, coming from Councillor Vicky Etheridge, and that is for a CCTV program for our neighbourhood shopping centres in the region. This was on the back of the fact that we couldn't get public CCTV into all areas of Dubbo. However, we did have the capacity to subsidise private businesses who would require CCTV. I've always been a believer that you can't have enough CCTV in public areas. The more the better. They act as a strong deterrent, and they also act as great evidence in the times when it's needed in front of the courts. We have had a successful program now running in the Tamworth Street and also Boundary Road areas. In fact, Councillor Etheridge and I has recently made a bit of a trip to those areas to talk to individual businesses to see how they're going with it, as well as see how they're going with it. And we've had nothing but good reports on what's going on. Considering the issues in Wellington, we do have a very good opportunity at the moment to enable to expand this program to the Wellington area. That's why I'm moving councillors for this Merrill Minute, so we can get a report back to councillors on the best way forward with this. I think that when it comes to Wellington, we need to be more proactive when it comes to assisting local law enforcement in curbing the crime in Wellington. So That being the case, I think this is a great opportunity to expand this program to Wellington. So I'll formally move that. Any discussion or debate on the matter? Councillors. Councillor Moore.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I think this is well overdue. We only have to look at social media and the amount of pictures that have been caught by CCTV footage, which people are either doing the wrong thing or even lost persons, which I've said previously, gets spread all around the universe, and people can identify that and go forward, and crimes can be solved. Just the simple fact is a TV camera is installed in the right position, so crime can be prevented, but also gives the authorities more leeway of trying to catch the perpetrators at the time. But it also gives the community in Wellington some sort of assurance that their every step will be looked at. So, as I've said before, that if people have lost stuff or people are lost, that they can find out where these people are. And I know the Queensland Police use Facebook quite often to locate missing persons, and I share them myself because it's very important that they get out and people are found. But it's also important that crime is brought into the community, is shared throughout the community, so our law enforcement officers can find out who is doing the damage, and especially a nice little town like Wellington that needs to go forward and come on board with what we have on offer here. Thanks, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Moore. Any further comments or questions? Councillor Gumley.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. CCTV, of course, is just another tool in the crime prevention and crime detection and investigation arsenal, and I'm happy to support the mayoral minute. Our communities, Mr Mayor, deserve to be safe, and certainly our businesses deserve to be able to operate in an efficient manner, and if a policy like this goes some way to achieving both or either of those things, well then fantastic. We want Wellington to thrive. We know that it can thrive, and if this gets us moving even a little bit in the right direction, well then we ought to support it. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Gumley. Any further comments on this matter? No. I put that. All those in favour? I know carried. Up next, Councillors, mayoral minute on the CCL 20/5, request of federal government to implement free postage program for regional retailers. I formally move that and speak to it. Councillors, we had a fantastic promotion in the Dubbo region leading up to Christmas, where we had a budget, we asked for and we enabled our local retailers to effectively compete with Amazon, effectively compete with eBay and all the large e-commerce retailers of the world. It worked so well, it worked too well actually. We were inundated. Good. We still didn't have the money to do everything we wanted to do, but it was such a good program. We've seen in recent times Buy from the Bush initiatives, which have seen even some local retailers that has been reported in the Daily Liberal that has stayed open because of the Buy from the Bush program that has been running. This, in conjunction with our own free local postage, is keeping our local retailers alive. In this 21st century, our local retailers are in a fight for their lives against the big e-retailers, which could be located anywhere on the planet. Our promotion worked so well, it almost inundated Dubbo Regional Council. We couldn't keep up with it. But it is a great, but this highlights who should be doing it. That is the federal government. The reality is the federal government owns Australia Post. They have the capacity to implement a free postage program for regional businesses for the entire country. This would put Australia at the forefront of getting our local retailers, making them competitive, enabling them to be competitive. The stats, as before you in the mayoral minute, speak for themselves. We were inundated. Our local businesses loved it. In fact, they loved it too much. They totally, the budget was blown almost each and every day, which was a good thing. With that being the case, I'm reporting to councillors for this mayoral minute to be noted that I have actually asked Mark Colton to take up the challenge on this one and ask for the federal government to look at providing this service as part of a federal initiative, noting that they own Australia Post and they have the right infrastructure in place to do it. It's a pity that we couldn't go harder at it. We could only do it at certain post offices and we only got so much money to spend. The federal government, with Australia Post under its wing, are able to implement this program a lot better, and indeed it will make regional businesses be able to compete with the global mega companies like your Amazons, like your eBays and all the others that go with it. So I have put that. Any councillors wish to speak on this at all? Councillor Jones.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just one point. I think it's important that we also contact Andrew Gee. He is also a federal member that covers part of the Dubbo Regional Council.
Yep.
And if we've got two members fighting for us, I think we've got a better chance.
I should have noted, actually, Councillor Jones, I already did that. But anyway, yes, but anyway, yeah, yep, that's a very good point, and I shall make sure that Mr Gee's involved in all the discussions, absolutely. Yep. Further comment at all? Councillor Gumley.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I understand that certainly our local member, Mr Coulton, has expressed some level of support, and I'm sure that Mr Gee also supports in principle the concept, and I'm glad to hear that they propose to take it away to the relevant minister for further consideration. And indeed, it's another opportunity for the federal government to get on board and support our rural and regional communities, and certainly businesses, and mostly, I would understand, in our community, small business, that every little bit helps, and this, as we've seen in our own experience, can be successful. We know that our communities can band together at the grassroots level and support each other through difficult times like the drought that we're experiencing at the moment, and indeed areas impacted by fire over the last period of months. And we've seen things like the Buy From the Bush campaign grow to enormous proportions. But we also know that government can help build that momentum as well. And as I said, it's certainly an opportunity, as I see it, for the federal government to get on board and show real practical support for small businesses in our regional and rural communities. And I certainly hope that Mr Coulton, Mr Gee take up the bat for us, and that their parliamentary colleagues agree with what we have to say. Thanks, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Gumley. Further comments? Councillor Moore.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I fully support this, and the simple fact is at the present time we have Harris Scarf in our main street, our main local shopping precinct closing down, which is nationally among some areas, but the majority of Harris Scarf that are shutting are in regional areas because they can't sustain the profitability just to remain open. We also have the fact that Just Jeans have gone into administrations as well. Now, these are important jobs within our rural community, especially our regional community. And with little things like this that can help them remain open, help our people have jobs, help our community have a strong economic outlook, then all the better it will be. I hope that the federal government come on board with this. They should come on board with this, and Mark Coulton should be pressing this 100% because he represents rural and regional New South Wales. With these jobs within the community, it also keeps businesses open where they're most wanted, especially like Dubbo, where it is such a major shopping hub, especially for outback New South Wales. So I fully endorse the mayoral minute, and I hope that the federal government come on board and support it.
Further comment, councillors? Councillor Parker.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, just a comment in passing that 800 parcels for a total of $7,268 worked out to be $9 per parcel, which is not a lot when you compare it costs $1.10 to post a letter now. So certainly commend the report and recommendation, and yeah, well done. Thank you.
Further comment, councillors? No. I put that. All those in favour? I know, carried. Now, councillors, we have CCL 20/6, the Community Support-Based Procurement Policy. I formally move that as the mayoral minute. Councillors, going with the theme effectively when it comes to regional business, this is our opportunity to not just support regional businesses, but our regional businesses. Our regional businesses in the Dubbo area. We have always had, well, at least since the early 2000s, a local purchasing policy which effectively said that we'll give a 2% credit on a tender application for local businesses if they apply for tenders up to the value of $1 million. Now, that has had mixed success over the years. It has been better than nothing, but I've always had the view that we could go a lot harder at making sure that our local businesses are properly supported by ratepayers. I think it's highly fair and reasonable that Dubbo Regional Council back our local retailers. They back our local tradies, they back our local construction people. In fact, anyone in business locally, we should be backing as much as possible. So, councillors, I've asked, in this Merrill Minute, I'm asking for a report to come back in the coming months that indicates for a full review on our local procurement policy, our local purchasing policy. It is high time that we review it and look at ways that we can increase supporting our local businesses. It's one thing just to put on paper that we'll give a 2% increase in a tender mark. It's another thing to actually get out there and support these guys. Now, whether it's making sure that we get fleet from local car dealers, making sure that we get even the tea and coffee for the coffee rooms from local suppliers, right through to our big construction things that we may be doing, should be as much as possible, as much as practical from local suppliers. Now, that's not to say that we shoot ourselves in the foot and spend millions more on locals, as if someone else could do it a lot cheaper. We should be always have a balance, but we do need to make sure that we are taking our local businesses seriously, and we're doing all that we can to make them sustainable and able to compete in this modern world. So that's why I think it's highly appropriate for us to get a report back so we can have a proper consultation period with our local businesses, with the local chamber, that we go through the process and talk to these people and see which would benefit them, how we can effectively engage them to make sure that they're trading better with Dubbo Regional Council. It also gives us the opportunity, councillors, to go through the process of looking at other local government areas around Australia to see what their local purchasing policies are. Are they beating us? Have they got a better policy out there? In a lot of cases in business, there's no point in just simply reinventing the wheel. If someone's already got a good model in place and it's working, well, we could look to copy it. So this report, when it comes back, I'm hoping that we'll fully have results of our community, of talking to our own community, but also looking at other local government areas around the country as well. Then we can fully get together and work out a great local purchasing policy that keeps ratepayers' dollars local. So I certainly commend this to councillors and ask if there's any further comments or questions. No? Oh yeah, Councillor Gumley.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. It's like a small and medium business-a-thon in the chamber tonight, and in my opinion it's probably well overdue, and I'm surprised, to be honest, given the makeup that we've had in previous councils and representatives on those councils that come from small business backgrounds, that it hasn't been looked at and perhaps given a little bit more weight in the past. Again, as I said, the two former items for tonight, anything that we can do to support our community, then we ought to look at, and certainly supporting the backbone of our economies in small and medium business is an obvious place to start. But of course, as you said, Mr. Mayor, it's not just about paying through the nose, as it were, because you're a local. We're responsible fiscally, and at the end of the day, it's not council's money, it's ratepayers' money. And while I understand that definitely ratepayers will have an appetite to support locals, they'll also expect council to be responsible with their money at the end of the day. But I definitely support the minute, and I'm hopeful that when it comes back we'll have something to work with. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Further comment, councillors? No? Well, councillors, I really do hope this is a great opportunity tonight. I really want to supercharge our local businesses here in the Dubbo region to make sure that they are being competitive. The motions that are up tonight are not about giving a hand out to local businesses. They're about giving a hand up. whether it be the free postage program or even a better community support-based procurement policy, this is about giving a hand up to local businesses. They still have to do the work. They still have to get out and compete, but it gives them the actual tools and the power to, again, compete with the Amazons, compete with the bigwigs. I want our local businesses to be absolute solid when it comes to standing up to the big boys. And this is what this is all about, councillors, is making our local businesses absolutely solid. So that being the case, with no further speakers, I'll put that. All those in favour? I don't know, carried. Now, councillors, we do have a late Merrill minute, and that is the expansion of the water saving rebate scheme. Councillors, as you would, I formally move that. It's before you at the moment. As you know, councillors, in December 2019, Council considered a water saving rebate scheme to assist residents when it comes to this fairly severe level 4 water restriction program. Now, we've had a lot of community feedback. And it turns out that we should be, and it's highly appropriate for us to look at further expanding that to include dual flush toilets, swimming pool covers and rainwater tanks. People have been asking that, residents have been asking for a rebate scheme on this since the water restrictions come in. I fully support that. I'm pleased that the staff are supportive of having this as well. We've got to give our ratepayers and our residents the tools in which to take on this water restriction challenge head first. And that's what this does. It assists them. Well, I certainly know that there's a lot of people going through pain at the moment. This drought is very, very painful, not just for residents but also businesses. But this is just one way that we can further assist in ensuring that we get our water usage down, noting that we haven't been too good when it comes to getting to that 280 litre per day mark. So anything we can do further to assist that, we should be doing. So I formally put that. Any councillors wish to speak to this motion at all? Councillor Moore.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. We know that some residents and businesses in Dubbo don't have the modern technology that newer houses have, especially when it comes to toilets. We know that toilets are very water usage when they're flushed, and especially with the dual flush system, if people install those toilets, can stop their can reduce their water consumption considerably, especially with the dual flush system. Currently, we're over 300 in Dubbo with our per person per day. Bringing this back down to 280 litres would be beneficial, and with some of these recommendations that we are putting forward might bring that closer to the target that we want to meet, so our water that can last as long as we use it beneficially and use it in a reasonable and sensible manner. Thanks, Mr Mayor.
Okay, further comment, councillors? Councillor Gumley.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, of course, you were in the chamber when our own Roger Fletcher came to speak to the council, and as he said, we were all in this together at the end of the day. It's not council on its own, it's not the community on its own, it's not business on its own, it's all together. And as Councillor Moore said, we've had some difficulty achieving the daily water use targets, and if government can lend a hand to people to achieve those targets, well then that's precisely what we ought to do. Again, as Mr Fletcher said, we've been through a few dry gullies, and no doubt we'll go through a few more, but on the way, if we can all contribute to conserving the water that we have at the moment for as long as possible, waiting for the rains to come and top the dam back up, well then that's the way our community works. There is a community spirit, and we all ought to work together to achieve those targets that effectively the council has imposed upon those ratepayers. Thanks, Mr Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councillors, any further comments at all? Councillor Parker.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, just a couple of little items on the recommendation. It's pleasing to note there that the rebate scheme will be applied for the purchase of identified water-saving devices purchased within the Dubbo Regional Council area. That sort of goes in line with what we discussed a couple of matters ago. Now, the only other question on item is item 4, which says until the allocated funds for this program are exhausted. I should have asked it pre-meeting, but I didn't. What have we set aside for funding of this particular exercise?
It's, I understand it's $100,000. Councillor
What was
Parker.
that
$100,000.
100,000. Thank you.
Further comment, questions? No? Okay, I put that. All those in favour? I know, carried. Now, councillors, we move on from the Merrill minutes to information matters. We have the building summary of December 2019. Can I have a mover of that, please? Move Councillor Etheridge. A seconder, Councillor Jones. Any discussion, comment or debate? No, I put that. All those in favour? I know, carried. Now we move to CCL 20/8, the investment under Section 625 of the Local Government Act, December 2019. Can I have a mover of that one, please? Move Councillor Diffie, second to Councillor Grant. Any discussion or debate on that matter? No. Councillor Parker.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, I'd like to declare a peculiarly significant interest in the matter before the Council and will leave the room be out of sight during the discussion of such. The reason for this is that I'm an employee of the Bank of Queensland Dubbo branch. That bank, that Council has funds invested with. Thank you.
Okay, councillors, any discussion, comment or debate on the matter? No, I put that. All those in favour? I know, carried. If someone can invite Councillor Parker back into the room, please. Okay, councillors, we now move on to reports from staff. CCL 20/9, payment of expenses and provisions of facilities for the Mayor and councillors as a results of the public exhibition. Can I have a mover of that, please? Move Councillor Gumley, seconded Councillor Etheridge. Any discussion or debate on that matter, please? Councillor Gumley.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just a question perhaps to the CEO as regards what is expected financially if this policy is adopted. What does Council expect to achieve with the adoption of that policy?
The actual adoption of the policy will no doubt provide a revenue neutral cost increase for the community. There are certain things that have been added to this provision for councillors and expenses, and there are also others that have been reduced. So there will be a cost neutral increase or cost neutral effect on the bottom line of our budget for which is appropriate use of our public funds.
Councillors, any further comment, discussion? No. I put that. All those in favour? I know, carried. Now we go councillors to CCL 20/10, Dubbo Regional Sports Council Playing Field Improvement Fund, Dubbo Rugby Club. Can I have a mover of that one, please? Move Councillor Diffie. Seconder, Councillor Jones. Any discussion on that matter? No, I put that. All those in favour? I know, carried. Now we move to naming of private, CCL 20/11, naming of private road, 17 lot community title subdivision 40 to 52 Morgan Street, Dubbo. Can I have a mover of that, please? Move Councillor Parker, a seconded Councillor Gumley. Any discussion or debate on that one? No, I put that. All those in favour? I know, carried. Now we go to CCL 20/12, review of remuneration for independent members of the Audit and Risk Management Committee. Can I have a move of that, please? Move Councillor Grant, a seconded Councillor Parker. Any discussion or debate on that matter? No, I put that. All those in favour? I know, carried. And that concludes the agenda items for tonight's council meeting. I thank you, everyone, for your attendance. Thank you very much.